Hello there, it is Mark Anthony Davis, and we're back with another ROM hack playthrough. This time it's Pokémon CrystalDust, and yes, I know earlier today I promised Pokémon Coliseum, but due to technical difficulties and general annoyance with trying to record that game, it seemed like that's going to have to be postponed for at least a month, because I think I'm going to have to buy some new cords or something. There was this weird buzzing noise in the background, which I'll show clips of it at the end of this video. But for now, we'll focus on this. It is a Generation 3 remake of, the third version of Pokemon Gold and Silver, Pokemon Crystal. Now, as you may know, this is one of the more famous ROM hacks, CrystalDust. And yeah, I think its initial release was like 2006. I think it won like Hack of the Year back in 2006. So obviously this game is well trodden territory for Let's Plays and just people playing it in general. It had its final release sometime in 2020, I believe, or 2021. And the thing is, there's one thing I'm really worried about. There's two versions apparently of this game. There's multiple updated versions of the game. But in terms of what matters to me, there's two versions of the game. There is a version that is where Johto is completed. Right, that's the version I want to play. That's the most completed version of the game, is where Johto is completed. But there's also another version that is not completed. It stops right after Goldenrod. It's like there's basically the game stops after Pseudo Wudo. And I hope I don't have that version of the game. The thing is, although I played this ROM for a couple hours before, as you might have seen by my save file, I only made it to about Azalea Town. I never made it past that. And at the time I was playing, I didn't know that you could accidentally download the wrong one. Hopefully it's the right one. But I think the difference might be, I don't know, some graphical difference. There's like a second version or try to revamp the graphics or something. But I don't know, we don't have to worry about that right now. That's like 10 parts from now, at least until we get to Goldenrod probably. But anyways, I am choosing to play as the girl because I always loved how the girl looked, and not in a sexual way or anything like that. Like when I say I like her design, I truly mean that. I just like her outfit. I went with the name Isaac. I wanted to name my girl Isis, but maybe it's still not enough time has passed for people to associate Isis with an Egyptian god and not that thing of theirs over in the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? That thing that loves doing collabs with various U.S. government bureaucracies, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Anyways, you see right here, it's the map of Johto. And this is pretty much all the... See, when we look at this map, makes you think I did get the right version, because everything's there, I guess. And the only thing that's in the game that we can't see on this map is like the routes leading up to the Pokemon League and the Victory Road. And those parts are technically in Kanto, but the rest of Kanto, of main Kanto, is not in the game, as far as I know. And will never be in the game. It's just a remake of the Johto have. There are ROM hacks that have two regions in it, that have both Johto and Kanto. But it's their DS game. I think it was like it was like ROM hacks of Heart Gold So. Well, obviously they will have it because it's already there, I guess. And there's more space on the DS. And there's obviously GBA ROM hacks with multiple regions, but the regions are quite smaller. And they're not the official ones, but this year, what I originally wanted to do, I had many plans that I wanted to do this year, recording videos, and plans have changed drastically in the past couple weeks. Wait, is there any volcano baked meat here? I don't think so. Anyways, what I really wanted to do is like play a bunch of Pokemon ROM hacks this year, Coliseum being the exception, obviously, because I just loved that game and I always wanted to like play through it again. Because I 100% the game once, and after that experience, I'm like, wow, this is one of the better Pokemon games. it's sad that I got to it so late. And I mean, late in my life. I mean, I'm not late in life type of guy. I mean, I'm only 24, but it just took me like 15 years to realize that was a game that I need to play. Anyways, I wanted to play a bunch of ROM hacks this year. You know, playing through CrystalDust. I also want to do Emerald Kaizo. But I wanted to do some ROM hacks that had custom regions, but just the Gen 3 Pokemon. And it's hard to find that line because it feels like so many of the ROM hacks that get pushed to me. It's like the 15 ROM hacks you need to play, like Gen 3 ROM hacks you need to play. They all have like fake mons, or they're just modded to shit to where you can't trade your Pokemon to the regular Pokemon games, which I love doing. That's how I got. It's not how I totally completed my Pokédex in Gen 3. I did it mostly through the regular games, but that's how I got like Celebi and stuff. And like the legendaries that weren't available to you in America. I think Celebi is the main one. Deoxys and oh, look at the phone functionality, beautiful phone functionality here. But I think Deoxys and Latios and Latias and all those Pokemon are just in the game. Mew is in Pokemon Emerald. It's a matter of either having a ROM hack that lets you go to those islands or using an action replay. And recently I bought a GBA action replay for an embarrassing amount of money, and I think I might have to sell it back because I'm finding out that there's like these old event cartridges that let you have they give you the event Pokemon. Like that's how they distributed the Pokemon back in the day. They had these cartridges that will connect to your game and give you, you know, whatever event was going on. And now people are downloading or making into a ROM, dumping those cartridges into a ROM, and you can put that ROM on a flash card and do the distributions yourself off a flash card onto your legitimate, you know, GBA game. So I don't really have a need to like even get the Celebi or whatever off a ROM hack anymore, because there's they're reviving a legitimate way to do those events now, which is a great thing, great development in the Pokemon community, especially if you're a guy like me who really not fond of the modern games. But anyways, it's time to pick our starter. I've been rambling, but now it's time to be serious again, because I don't know what starter exactly that I want in this game, because I always pick Totodile. That is my thing, because I'm not too big of a fan of the water type Pokemon in this game outside of Wooper, and the great water type Pokemon they have in this game you get kind of late. And Chikorita is like, Chikorita's a fine Pokemon, but if I'm getting a grass type, I'm getting a grass poison type. And Cyndaquil here, although probably the most common choice for everyone to pick, it's the one I don't pick that often. So for me, this is going out of the ordinary. So that's what I'm gonna do here. And the only thing worse than the water type selection early on in this game, actually, that's not true. I don't know. I feel like overall, I should say, water types have a better selection in this game, but you have an other fire type option early on in this game. Anyway, I named my Cyndaquil Datpiff in memorial to datpiff.com. That went down earlier this year, and so many mixtapes have been lost. It's a darn shame. It's a darn shame that Datpiff is down. But it's probably pretty expensive to host all that data. But yeah, it really sucks when something very important like that just crumbles so quickly. Anyways, we get a potion. It's not like the modern games where they give you like 5 to 10 potions at the beginning of the game from one of the professor's aides. Yeah, you just get that one, and I love just the graphical enhancements. Not so much the graphical updates from the Gen 2 interface to this one. And it's not so much updating from Gen 2 to Gen 3, because obviously, you know, the regular Gen 3 games are bad, but it's using the particular menus, updating the particular menus of Gen 2 with the Pokegear and with the bag to maintain the same soul of Crystal. It's I don't know, it's something, I feel like this game really has some soul to it, and it has that Crystal soul where Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I don't know, it doesn't really preserve that soul of Diamond and Pearl too well. The first wild encounter, Pidgey. I do make a note of it whenever I'm fighting wild Pokemon these days, what Pokemon gives out what EVs. And I'm pretty sure Pidgey gives off one speed EV, although I'm not going to be EV training because it's very hard to do that in most Pokemon games, I would say. But especially the earlier, I mean, I guess the early ones that didn't have EVs, it was just that experience, which, and I think I said this before in my Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow walkthrough, is that stat experience is a superior system for the single player of a Pokemon game, because you level up, you can max out all your stats instead of just having, you know, if you're able to look at an EV spread of your Pokemon team when you finish the single player, it would just be just a random mismatch of EVs and all these random stats, not at all optimized and not anything that you really wanted. But since you had to defeat the trainers that were in front of you, you had to take the EVs. Honestly, this depends on the game, because I think in some games trainers don't give you EVs, which I find odd. Because I was reading about, I think it was Pokemon Emerald, which just is the Pokemon Emerald is the base of this ROM. I think the trainers in Pokemon Emerald don't give you EVs. The only way to get EVs is through vitamins and through wild Pokemon, which I think is a fine negotiation between, you know, if you're gonna have EVs, you probably shouldn't have the regular trainers have them, because you wouldn't be able to ultimately EV train your Pokemon, because you're forced to fight certain trainers who just have EVs or riding EVs and a thing that you don't want. But I think in Gen 4 they changed that, where trainers also give you EVs. But yeah, I just hear this on Route 29, just grinding. I always went by I think it was a Super Skarmory tip way back when Heart Gold Soul Silver first came out, is that you want to be level 9 by the time you fight Silver for the first time. And I always got to level 9 because of that. That stuck with me so much. It stuck with me so much that I just always get to level 9 by the time we go back to Trader Grove. So I fight every wild Pokemon here. And as usual, I think I said this in multiple playthroughs, at the beginning of the game, where you don't have any Pokeballs yet, I am always deathly afraid of encountering a shiny Pokemon and not being able to catch it. What you gotta say? I want to take a break, so I saved my progress. So might as well do that right now, coming up to the end of this video. And thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this part. Gonna be more action in the next couple parts if we get past the beginning of this game. Was kind of slow, but anyways, before you go, let's look at some clips of the technical difficulties that I had with Pokemon Coliseum. I think they become noticeable. Anyways, check them out.